Hello, everybody. I'm back. Day two. I'm keeping up with my New Year's resolution. Let's keep it going. So, yesterday, if you joined me, I went over the daily Bitcoin charts. And today, I'm going to go over the charts again, but this time I'm doing the weekly chart because we're just starting a new week. 5 hours ago, the new week started. So, I figured why not start the new week with looking at the weekly charts and see what we observe from there. Now this is a longer time frame, but honestly to me the one thing that you'll learn about trading is you need patience. So it might seem like you're waiting forever, but this is not, trading is not get rich quick. You gotta earn and scratch and claw for every penny you make in this business. You know, they say like 90% of people that try to trade fail, which is a reason why hodling is a good suggestion for a lot of people. You know, if you believe in Bitcoin, you might as well just dollar cost average in and make sure you don't miss the ride, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. I mean, if you have the time and the wherewithal and the motive and the energy to learn how to trade, then you'll realize that you can make Bitcoin a lot faster than if you just hodl. So that's what I'm trying to help out with. And like I was saying, the weekly chart is a good place to start today because it just started 5 hours ago. So we're back here on the Bitcoin log growth curves chart, and what we're looking at is the resistance up here and support down here. As you can see on the weekly chart, it's a pretty wide range, which you would expect because it's a weekly chart, so it's a macro long-term perspective. Looking at the SMAs on this chart, we are below the 20-week SMA. We are below the 50-week SMA. And we are well above the 100 and the 200. There's also some log curve support down here at 39,866. Which is a spot that I will be discussing in other charts and a potential place that we could revisit later. So I'm actually going to make a line here and we'll just look at this along the way and see how it plays out as support when we look at all the other charts. All right. So not much more to see here. So the next chart is the fib bands and the good old Burbicator. And as we can see here on the weekly chart, the Bitcoin price is in no man's land. It's halfway in between the top 3 fib bands and the bottom 3 fib bands. Not much to see there. If you look down here at the Burbicator, just to test it, July 19th, it turned gold. The price of Bitcoin was $29,000. It climbed from there, as you can see, all the way up before it turned gray. It turned gray at 69,000. It literally called the bottom, called the top. 29.69. $40,000 gain on the Burbicator. All I can say is Burb is the word. And I cannot wait for this Burbicator to turn gold again, because I'm going to test that theory. You better believe that. Now on to the AutoFib chart. Once again, weekly chart. As you can see here, At the all-time high, it hit the very top of the fib and bounced down, crashed through this support, and now it's just hovering in between the 50,000 and the $40,000 support. There's not a whole lot to see here. I will say this: the 0 point or the midpoint is $33,000. So if we were to create a double bottom, bottom here, that could be a double bottom pattern at around the $33,000 area before we go higher. Hopefully we don't go below that. EMA ribbon. This one is concerning me a little bit. As I explained yesterday, the gold is the 20. This is a 20-week now since we're on the weekly chart. So the 20-week gold EMA started to curl down on the week of November 22nd. The price was approximately $60,000. It has been curling down ever since for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and the price has dropped from $60,000 to $46,821, which is where we are now, but it actually came all the way down to $40,000 on one big mega drop. So this is a little concerning because, like I said, anytime this gold curls over and then crosses over all these others, that can flip the ribbon, which usually means the prices are going to keep going lower for a while. It's actually a lot easier to see in a daily chart than this weekly chart, but trust me, I don't think we want to see these ribbons curling over. Hopefully what will happen is the 20 EMA ribbon will curl back up without crossing over, which is what it did here. So like I said, here it was 60,000. It curled over, it went all the way down to 29,000. That was a $31,000 drop. Weeks later, it starts to curl. It almost touches the next ribbon, which will be the 25-week ribbon, then curls back up, and the price goes from 29,000 all the way up to a new all-time high of 69,000. So we can pray for that, right? The 20 EMA is curling down. Let it come down, almost touch the 25 EMA, and then go higher. That's what I'm pulling for. Here we're on the weekly chart with our moving averages, our RSI, and our MACD. We're below the 20, we're below the 50, we're well above the 80 and the 200s. Our RSI is at 46, which is below 50, which is one of those points where they say is a make or break point. If you break above 50, you work higher. If you break below 50, you usually go lower. And as you can see, the RSI is also pointing down. So to me, that is not a good sign. Let's look at the MACD. The MACD, both the blue and the red are pointing straight down, and we got another long red wick here in the histogram. And it's a dark red. So in my opinion, we're still going lower. Nothing has changed from yesterday. If anything's changed, it's that looking at these weekly charts has only reconfirmed that we're probably going to go lower before we get higher. But when we get higher, we're going to get high. Alright, so we got 2 more charts to go over, and then I'm out of here. I'm trying to speed this up. I know yesterday it took me about 30 minutes, but like I said, that was my first go around. I'm going to speed this up as we can go, and I also don't have any news to report as of now, just because it's Sunday and there's not a whole lot of news to report. But right now, I'm moving on to my Luxalgo indicator chart, which is from luxalgo.com, which is a premium chart indicator that I pay for, and it is well worth the money. So anyway, we'll look at this chart first. And this is kind of like those Fibonacci bands on the other chart. You've got your red up here, your green down here. On this weekly chart, there is a really huge gap. I mean, you know, the top support comes down to 8,400. Wow, I'm just looking at this chart. This might not even be worth looking at because I don't think there's enough data for it to accurately predict these bands anyway. So I'm going to jump out of here. We can look at these indicators down here though, and as you can see, like with the other day, I said when this turns green, the price goes up, and then when it turns red, the price goes down. And this is a clear example. On August 2nd, the price was $37,000 when it turned green. So if you buy on green, green means go, at $37,000, and you ride it all the way up until it turns red on November 29th, even if you sold at the low of 40,000 on that candle, you're still making a $3,000 gain, which, I mean, that's really not that great, but it's not terrible. It's not a loss. But that being said, there were times where you could have got out way earlier. I mean, you could have got in, like I said, back here when the price was 37,000 and it went all the way up to 69,000. So there was a potential for a $32,000 gain in there. So that seems like a decent indicator to keep an eye on. And then this next indicator down here, which is a multi-length stochastic indicator, this concerns me because as you can see, there's a red dot right there. Usually when a red dot happens, the price drops. The last time there hit a red dot here, the price of Bitcoin was 39,500, and it proceeded to drop to 28,800, so that's approximately $11,000 drop when it went from red to the low of that range. So I am, now that I've seen this red dot, which has just appeared today, because as you can see here on the weekly chart, we are only 5 hours into the weekly chart. There's 6 days and 19 hours left on the weekly chart. So it just turned red. So I think that this could be a red week. And that's why I have my buy orders, which I showed you all before. But I'll bring them back up. I have all my buy orders set here, starting at 43,445 and ranging down all the way to 36,814. And then I have emergency alerts set all the way down here in the $33,000 to $30,000 range, because if it drops all the way down here, green means go, and I'm going all in. Finally, I got a weekly, sorry, there we go. Finally, I got a weekly chart set up here where yesterday I showed you this chart with the head and shoulders, so I figured I would bring it back up and show it to you again. Like I said, Bitcoin is potentially forming a weekly head and shoulders pattern, which is a bearish pattern. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you have a shoulder here, a head here, potentially a shoulder here. Part of trading is trying to anticipate what's going to happen in the future. Now, a lot of times they do say that if a pattern's obvious, it usually doesn't play out. Well, that's fine. And I hope that a head and shoulders doesn't play out, because then that means that we're dropping lower. Although my buy orders would fill, so it wouldn't be too bad for me. But I'm always rooting for Bitcoin to go higher. Anyway, you got to anticipate the future. If you think you see something, prepare for it, which is why I set these buy orders. I'm prepared for the head and shoulders pattern to play out and me to stack my sats, and then we recover and go on to all-time highs in 2020. So I just wanted to reiterate the head and shoulders pattern is a potential. If the head and shoulders pattern doesn't play out, then that's good for us, and maybe we just come down here, we bounce here, and go up. Or who knows, we're right on this trend line that I drew. Maybe from this week, we go higher. The week has started red so far, the first 5 hours. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean it can't turn green. So this could have been the bottom here, if we're lucky. And we're shooting higher, and we're going off into 2020 and making new all-time highs for Bitcoin and making history in the crypto world, because 2020 is the year of crypto. It's a financial revolution. Power to the people. We're bringing it all back this year, baby, and Bitcoin's leading the way. Let's go. All right, I'm done for today. I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow, Monday, going over the daily chart, and if there's any pertinent news, I'll be going over that as well. All right, have a good night.